Today we're embarking on an extraordinary journey back in time, exploring a chapter of World War II that's so peculiar it could easily be mistaken for a Hollywood script. Get ready for Alliance of Desperation, the unbelievable Battle of Castle Itter, where Allies and Germans found themselves on the same side against an unexpected adversary. I'm Untapped History, and this is your local big dog speaking in this video. I might be using stock footage with watermarks, but I am broke. But you subscribe and like the video, you can help me out. Our story unfolds against the breathtaking backdrop of the Austrian Alps in the twilight of World War II. In the chaos of the Allied advance, a diverse group of soldiers from different nations discovers themselves thrust into a role they could never have anticipated, defenders of a medieval castle against an unforeseen and formidable foe. Picture this: American GIs, French prisoners of war, and a German SS officer, all united in a common cause against the notorious Waffen-SS. It's an unbelievable tale of desperation, survival, and an alliance born out of sheer necessity. Join me as we unravel the dynamics of this unlikely fellowship and the bonds forged in the crucible of war, as the Waffen-SS descends upon the ancient walls of Castle Itter. Our protagonists flee. We'll delve into the strategic challenges, the audacious maneuvers, and the individual acts of courage that defined the days and nights of this remarkable siege. Witness the clash of ideologies and the fight for survival that unfolded within the castle's walls. Picture this: Castle Itter, standing sentinel atop a hill, offered an unparalleled view of the surrounding landscape. This geographic advantage wasn't just picturesque, it was a game-changer in the context of wartime strategy. The elevated position allowed the defenders to observe enemy movements from a distance, giving them crucial insights into the approaching Waffen-SS forces. Now, why was this observation point so critical? In the chaos of war, information is power. The ability to anticipate the enemy's actions, to strategize and adapt, is a decisive factor. From Castle Itter's vantage point, defenders could not only identify the approach of the Waffen-SS, but also plan and coordinate their defense in a way that exploited the natural terrain. But it wasn't just about seeing, it was about controlling. The geographic advantage of Castle Itter extended beyond mere observation. The castle's elevated position made it a challenging target for attackers. As the Waffen-SS descended the slopes, they faced not only the defenders within the castle, but also the physical barriers of the hill itself, creating a natural defense that played into the hands of those holding the fortress. Moreover, Castle Itter's strategic location in the Austrian Alps had broader implications for the region. The castle controlled key routes, making it a linchpin for controlling access to surrounding areas. Capturing a castle, Itter, meant gaining control over these vital routes, influencing the movement of troops and supplies. In the context of the closing stages of World War II, with the Allies advancing and the Waffen-SS desperate to hold ground, the geographic advantage of Castle Itter became a strategic chess piece in the theater of war. Now, let's shift our focus to another critical aspect that influenced the Battle of Castle Itter: its defensive architecture. This medieval fortress wasn't just a static structure. Its design played a pivotal role in shaping the course of the battle and the strategies employed by the defenders. Imagine the imposing stone walls, the narrow corridors, and the fortified layout of Castle Itter. These weren't just aesthetic choices from a bygone era. They were deliberate features crafted for defensive purposes. The thickness of the stone walls, in particular, provided a formidable barrier that the Waffen-SS had to contend with as they approached the castle. Now, let's talk about the narrow corridors within Castle Itter. While these may seem like architectural quirks to a casual observer, they served a crucial purpose during the battle. The confined spaces within the castle forced the Waffen-SS into close-quarter combat, where the defenders could leverage their limited resources more effectively. It turned the castle's architecture into an asset, creating bottlenecks that played to the advantage of those holding the fortress. Additionally, the defensive architecture dictated the layout of Castle Itter. Its arrangement wasn't just a matter of aesthetics, it was a strategic choice. The defenders strategically positioned themselves within the castle to maximize their defensive capabilities. This included utilizing elevated positions, such as towers and parapets, to create vantage points that allowed them to observe and respond to the movements of the Waffen-SS. The design of Castle Itter wasn't just about repelling attackers. It was about creating a space that facilitated the effective defense. The thick walls, narrow corridors, and elevated positions transformed Castle Itter from a picturesque relic into a fortress that could withstand the onslaught of the approaching Waffen-SS. As we explore the events within these medieval walls, understanding the defensive architecture becomes crucial in appreciating the tactical complexity that unfolded during the Battle of Castle Itter. Now let's shift our focus to the heart of the Battle of Castle Itter, the defensive maneuvers executed within the castle. As the Waffen-SS launched their assault, the defenders had to rely on ingenuity and strategic thinking to withstand the onslaught. Picture the scene within Castle Itter. The defenders, vastly outnumbered and facing the determined Waffen-SS, had to make the most of their limited resources. What unfolded was a masterclass in defensive maneuvers. The defenders strategically positioned themselves, leveraging the unique layout of the castle to create bottlenecks that slowed the advance of the Waffen-SS. One of the key defensive maneuvers was the use of the castle's narrow corridors to the defenders' advantage. The confined spaces forced the Waffen-SS into close-quarter combat, where the defenders could maximize the effectiveness of their limited weaponry. It turned the castle into a labyrinth, where every room and corridor became a potential battleground. The defenders also showcased their ingenuity through the use of improvised weapons and strategic placements. Limited in ammunition and heavy weaponry, they had to make every shot count. The castle's defensive architecture, initially designed for medieval warfare, now became a canvas for innovative defensive tactics. From repurposing a disabled Sherman tank to using the castle's elevated positions for strategic advantage, every move was a calculated response to the evolving dynamics of the battle. But defensive maneuvers within Castle Itter extended beyond physical confrontations. The defenders engaged in a psychological game with the Waffen-SS. Decoys and misinformation were employed to create confusion and uncertainty among the assailants. It was a tactical dance of deception, a strategic brilliance that added a layer of complexity to the intense close-quarter combat. Now let's unravel a fascinating layer of the Battle of Castle Itter, the tactical mind games that unfolded within the medieval fortress. This segment delves into the ghosts of deception, where the defenders engaged in a psychological battle, adding a unique and strategic dimension to the conflict. As the Battle of Castle Itter reached a critical juncture, the defenders recognized the need for more than just physical strength. Enter the ghosts of deception, a series of tactical maneuvers designed to sow confusion and doubt among the ranks of the Waffen-SS. Picture the defenders creating decoys, spreading misinformation, and strategically manipulating the perceptions of their adversaries. One of the key elements of the tactical mind games was the use of decoys. The defenders, with limited resources at their disposal, cleverly crafted illusions to give the impression of a more significant and formidable force. These decoys diverted the attention of the Waffen-SS forcing them to contend with imaginary threats, while the defenders fortified their real positions. Misinformation became another weapon in the arsenal of Castle Itter's defenders. Through clever communication and deliberate actions, they led the Waffen-SS to believe in a different reality. False reports of reinforcements, exaggerated accounts of the defenders' strength, and fabricated plans all contributed to a fog of war that played into the hands of those holding the castle. The tactical mind games within Castle Itter transformed the battlefield into a stage for psychological warfare. The defenders, facing overwhelming odds, understood the power of perception in influencing the course of the battle. By strategically employing deception, they turned Castle Itter into a fortress of uncertainty, where the Waffen-SS had to navigate a maze of misinformation while confronting the physical challenges presented by the castle's architecture. As we navigate through the layers of the Battle of Castle Itter, our journey brings us to a pivotal moment, the arrival of the 23rd Tank Battalion. This segment is a testament to the twists of fate and the profound impact that reinforcements had on the dynamics of the battle within the medieval walls of Castle Itter. Picture the scene within Castle Itter. The defenders engaged in intense close-quarter combat facing the relentless Waffen-SS. The arrival of the 23rd Tank Battalion was a beacon of hope, a reinforcement that shifted the dynamics of the battle. These American tanks, rolling through the Austrian Alps, were about to tip the scales in favor of the unlikely alliance. The defenders, bolstered by the arrival of the 23rd Tank Battalion, now had the firepower needed to counter the relentless assault. The strategic advantage that Castle Itter provided was complemented by the mobility and firepower of the tanks. The tide was turning, and the Waffen-SS, now faced with a formidable force, had to reassess their approach to the siege. The tanks from the 23rd Tank Battalion brought not only firepower, but also a renewed sense of morale to the defenders. The psychological impact of these steel behemoths rolling into the scene cannot be overstated. The Waffen-SS, who moments ago believed victory was within their grasp, now found themselves confronted with a formidable obstacle. The arrival of the 23rd Tank Battalion marked a turning point in the Battle of Castle Itter. The defenders, who had valiantly held their ground against overwhelming odds, now had the support needed to decisively repel the Waffen-SS. As we conclude our exploration, the events surrounding the arrival of the 23rd Tank Battalion stand as a testament to the unpredictable nature of warfare and the profound impact that timely reinforcements can have on the outcome of a battle. In wrapping up our journey through the Battle of Castle Itter, we've witnessed the geographic advantage, dissected the defensive architecture, marveled at the defensive maneuvers and the ghosts of deception, and finally, we've seen the dramatic arrival of the 23rd Tank Battalion. The story of Castle Itter is not merely a historical footnote. It's a tapestry woven with the threads of resilience, strategic brilliance, and the unpredictable nature of war. Join me in our next exploration into the untold stories of history, and until then, this is Little Timmy from History Untapped jumping off a cliff.